Life be lifing sometimes. And sometimes we just want to give up. And that's what today we're going to talk about: how to keep going. Welcome to my channel, The Business Building Diva, with me, Natasha James, better known as the CEO Speaks. Let's have one of those deep thought conversations. Let's just talk about life and how life be lifing. Okay? Let's talk about how being comfortable will lie to you. I used to tell myself all the time I was fine, that I didn't need more, that settling was safer. But God kept nudging me. There's more in store. But you won't even see it if you stay here. I'm that girl that I grew up poor, right? I didn't have like a whole lot. So what I have now is abundance, and I am grateful for all that I have. And upon me having all of this, I was still grateful because I still had a lot. Like I had more than what I had growing up. So I think I found myself getting comfortable in situations where, I grew up. It was 8 of us in an 800 square foot home. Okay, so to be in a house that's almost 3,000 square feet is just more than enough space for me and my children. I have 4 kids, me and my husband. So it's 6 of us in the house. Um, I went to college. I got a master's degree. My jobs always paid me decent salaries. My husband has always had good jobs. He allowed me to stay home while I was working, while I was in school. Um, I didn't feel the need to have to chase money in a sense. I was happy being where I was. My kids didn't want for anything. My bills were paid. I lived in a decent home. My children were safe. I drove a nice car. I mean, as far as I was concerned, what more did I need? But at some point in my life, I realized that God said that, girl, stop playing. Like, I'm not done with you. You are on assignment. And I need you to understand that this is not about you. This is not about what you want. It's about what I am doing in you. So that's when I realized that I am a generational curse breaker. I am that person that I cannot stop doing whatever it is that I'm supposed to be doing. I can't just sit here and be nonchalant about the things that I'm doing. In 2018, he showed me that. He showed me that this wasn't about me, and that I had to do what he said do. Yeah. So look, my motivation to being who I am has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with what I want out of life. It's more of what God is telling me. I had to remember the why. I had to understand that, yes, I had a purpose, and yes, I needed to understand that that purpose was bigger than me. I had to remember that my why started with my kids. My why is about the women watching me, even when I didn't know it. Even when nobody clapped for me, I had to clap for myself. I had to be mindful that everybody can't appreciate where you are and where you are coming from, because a lot of times they don't understand themselves. They are trying to figure out how did she get there. I have more than she have. I've done more than she's done. I have been through this and I've been through that. But we have to remind ourselves that only a few are chosen. You have to know that at the end of the day, God is in the midst of everything. And when he says it's your turn, that's what it is. It's your turn. I am always reminded of the the stories that the world told me. My life story was I was supposed to be a single mom with a house full of kids on welfare and living in low income housing, because that's the way my mom lived. And I was supposed to grow up and be just like her. I wasn't supposed to be a college educated. somebody. I wasn't supposed to have a good husband. I wasn't my kids. All of my kids were supposed to be menaces to society. I was not supposed to be a seven-figure earning mother of four, happily married of 20 something years, and a serial entrepreneur. That was not my life story. That's not what people said. That's not who people pegged me to be. And I almost let that become my reality. But somehow God said no. God aligned me, and He always allowed me to cross paths with somebody who reminded me of who He said I am. And it's so funny because if I could draw, I swear I tell people all the time that if I could draw an image of what God has done for me over the years and how He has ordered my steps from one thing to the next as it pertains to how I got where I am, I could draw this mural of a beautiful portrait. Like I can literally see it in my head. I can't really draw it, but I could see it. And if I could put an artist, if I could get an artist to literally just draw for me what I see in my head, I probably would pay him to do it for me just so I could. But I know my story isn't done. So at 47 years old, I'm still breaking generational curses, doing things that I never thought I'd do, just letting God do His big one. Because I'm to the point now that it's no longer I like he can't. I don't know when the big one gonna come. I used to always say this was his big one here. This was his big one. Oh, this one gonna be his big one. And then he show up and do something else. So no, I can't say that this is his big one. I don't know. I'm 47. I still have a lot more years to go because I do pray every day that I have a long, healthy life, like a 90 to 100-year-old healthy life in my right mind type of life. And I plan to continue to do things that God is allowing me to do. So I just wanted to say, I know how to clap for myself. I know how to go through life by myself and do things that I need to do without having accolades and not having somebody to support me because I've never really I didn't grow up with support. I didn't grow up with people saying, "Oh, she's going to be amazing. She's going to do this, she's going to do that." Nobody really cared. I made good grades in school, but nobody ever asked. So I used all of those negative things that people poured into me, and I flipped them around and poured it differently into my children. And I'm reminded that every season doesn't need a spotlight. I'm reminded every day that some of my best growth it came when I was being in a quiet moment and it was behind the scenes. I'm reminded that when nobody saw me, God was preparing me. I'm reminded that if that's where I was right then, that I didn't need to rush it, that I just needed to stay the course. I needed to know that at the end of the day, as long as I believed in God and I kept going, He was going to get me where He was trying to take me. And I am here. Let me tell you something. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations that we don't even know what's happening. We don't know why it's happening. We don't know how we ended up here. We don't know how long it's going to take. We don't know because it just seems like the walls are closing in on us. It seems like nothing is actually doing whatever it is that's going on. Nothing is going right. Everything seems to be going in total opposite. And we are struggling trying to figure out why. But I'm here to tell you that there's a rainbow on the other side of the storm. There's always going to be a rainbow on the other side of the storm. My grandmother used to always say, and just recently, a few years ago, another older lady told me, she was like, just stand, be still. And I was like, what do you mean, just stand, be still? And she said, just stand, be still. And then after all of the things that happened in 2018 for me, I realized what she meant to just stand. I realized that when things are going in, that when things are out of your control and you cannot fix it, and when you just leave it alone and start focusing on the things that are good in your life, and realize that at the end of the day, you have the opportunity to say, you know what, these are the good things that's going on. And these are the things that I'm going to focus on right now. Because when I put it down on paper and I look at my pros and cons, I let my cons go and I focus on my pros. And even in this day right now, like I literally just came out of another season where I was feeling like the walls is closing in on me again. And God reminded me, girl, it's the beginning of the year. And look at all of what you've done. Look at all of what you've done. Look at the doors that I've opened for you. Look at the people that I've allowed you to cross paths with. I still don't know why he's allowing me to go walk through these doors, and why the people that he's allowing me to cross paths with in this season, because mind you, it's not the regular people that I'm crossing paths with. I have been in this political scene over some time now, and I am not a political person. I don't even care to be involved in politics. I keep my opinions to myself. Yes, I do like to voice my concerns about what's happening in the world. Yes, I'm a big advocate for voting. Yes, I am that person I am dead set on helping low income families and advocating for them, but never in the political realm. But here in this season, I have been sitting in the legislative office. I have talked to senators. I have talked to councilmen. I have been people, they have been to my office. I don't have a clue where God is leading me and why he's leading me down that particular path, or why he's allowing me to come in contact with these people. But I'm not going to say that I'm not going to do whatever it is that he's going to do, because I'm allowing him to use me in the way that he wants to use me. So when I think about the discomfort and how it often is the beginning of my next level, I know that it don't feel good. It doesn't feel like things are coming together at all. It feels like everything again is falling apart. Nothing is there. But I'm constantly reminded that God is there and there's a hedge of protection around me. And that if you worried about what's not happening, or something didn't happen in the way that you thought it should happen, know that at the end of the day, the delay just may be protection. And that, what if the breakdown is really your setup for your next? What if you just look at it that way? Look at it like all of these things that's going on is a whole setup for something bigger and better than what you even had planned. What if it is? I could tell you that it was for me. I went from a 2,000 square foot building thinking that I was going to be buying that building. Altogether, it may have been about 3,500 to 4,000 square feet. In 2018, when all of this stuff happened, I moved into this new building in 2019, and that's a whole story within itself. But I had high hopes on buying that building, but it was sold right from up under me. And in 2024, I purchased a 6,000 square foot building in a better area. And I look at this building every day. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting in my media room right now. And I think about how that particular moment in my life, how God allowed me to go through all of those things. You ever heard the saying, well, there's a Bible verse that says that God will prepare a table in the presence of your enemies? I've lived it. I have lived it. I have sat and I have watched him tear down my business and rebuild it bigger and better. I have sat and watched weapons form that did not prosper. I have lived the Bible verses of there's a ram in the bush and that he has put a hedge of protection around me. I have lived all of that. I know what it feels like to walk through the fire and come out smelling like a rose. I can literally sit here and say, you know what? All of the things that I went through was definitely a setup for my next. Well, I hope that this motivated you, and I hope that it resonated with somebody, and it was something encouraging for whoever it is that's watching. Watching this and you're tired. If you've been asking yourself, what's the point? Let me just remind you, you're still standing. You've survived 100% of your hardest days. And the version of you that's coming out of this, she's going to be unshakable, she's powerful, and she's going to be ready. And I can literally tell you that because when I say nothing can stop me, nothing can stop me. And I feel like I want to get up and sing that song. Nothing can stop me now. I think that's how it goes. I'm not going to do that. But either way, I feel like at the end of the day, nothing can stop me. And I know that you'll feel the same way when you come up out of it. If this message resonates with you, drop a still standing in the comments. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, share this with them. Follow this channel because we're not just building businesses. We're building women who can endure. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.